Yeah, we got County Prosecutor Mr. Joseph Brusic, we call him Joe, in the house this morning, our Yakima County Prosecutor. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, gentlemen. Always an honor and privilege to be with you.
We appreciate you coming in this morning, Joe. We could talk to you about a million different things, but I think the hot topic right now is the lawsuit that OneAnerica filed on Monday, and I'm just going to let Dave after that kind of take it away. OneAnerica, filed Monday in saying that our voting system is a violation of the State Voting Rights Act, and saying that the county, they filed the lawsuit because the county failed to respond in time, and I know you dispute that, and so
let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there.
Well, once again, my role on behalf of the county is to make sure that people understand and know what we are doing, because we want to be transparent, not just myself in the Yakima County Prosecutor's Office, but the Board of County Commissioners and Yakima County government in general. We first received notice of this potential lawsuit being filed back in mid-January, January 15th. And we acted immediately. And within 2 to 3 weeks, we had hired a demographer. We went to the Board of County Commissioners and sought the assistance of outside counsel that is more specifically knowledgeable about these various issues. And so we acted immediately on this, and we did so in good faith. And in fact, under RCW 29A, it's a requirement that we as a political subdivision act in good faith in determining what is best for the voters of that subdivision, in this case being the county. Their position clearly is that they would like to see it's unfair. It's obviously not taking into account the Hispanic population, which is approximately 49% of Yakima County. And this is a first precedent, obviously, for county, as opposed to what the city of Yakima went through a number of years ago. So we have 3 districts in Yakima County, and each one is represented by a Yakima County Commissioner. And the districts are divided up geographically, and what they want us to do is to change the way that people vote for those 3 positions, because they believe it has essentially, and it's obviously much more complicated than this, but it essentially disenfranchised potential political candidates that are of Hispanic origin and voters that would vote for them, meaning the Hispanic voters are not voting because of the system that currently exists. What they had indicated originally in their January, and what they've continued to say over the last 6 months, is that they want what is known as ranked choice voting, which is a preferential treatment of candidates on the ballot. One time this has been done in the state of Washington previously, Pierce County in 2006, people instituted it, and within 3 years they voted it out because it was confusing and a number of other things that went through the system. So, most importantly, to answer your question, we've proactively been involved in this. We've at least a half dozen correspondence through letters with the other side.
So they're just not telling the truth.
Well, I'll state the facts, and then people can determine whether I believe that the way that they came out in their conference on Monday, they indicated something that I would say was incorrect, and that is that we have not been proactively. This takes time. This is this is not just getting some numbers. This is not just saying, gee, this is an unfair system, let's change it. This takes an evaluation, because you change something that is very, very, it's at the forefront of our rights. Voting is huge. And so we have to not only gather data, we have to look at it, we have to statistically analyze it. And we have to go through not only a demographer and analyze our county, but we have to look at how those numbers actually work and how they match up. And, once again, my position on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners is that we are working in good faith. We're cooperative with them. We've communicated routinely with them. We've informed them of our position and where we wanted to go in terms of the work that we were engaging in. And I believe we were proactive and working hard. We had a true sense that they were looking merely for 180 days to pass. July 13th, boom, they were going to fire a lawsuit up, and they proved our position correct. And,
regardless of your response.
Efforts.
That's right. One of the things that we wanted to do is obviously engage people, whether it be people in the community, Hispanic voters, obviously experts, all of these various things. A pandemic has affected all of that.
Yeah.
We asked for an additional 60 days, and they, as I indicated to the media this week, summarily denied that and said absolutely not. And the three counsel that are filing on behalf of OneAnerica are from Boston, the Massachusetts area, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. And they have hired a Seattle attorney to now, and those four attorneys now are the ones that filed on the lawsuit. So not one of the attorneys are from Yakima County, of course.
Perkins Coie involved in this?
No, McDonald Hogan Bayless out of
Yeah,
Seattle.
all right. So one of the things that they are requesting to have happen, as I read published accounts, is a minority majority district, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just give you a quick reminder of minority majority districts. The 15th district, remember Yakima, 14th district used to just be Yakima, basically, but it was changed a few years back in an effort to create a minority majority district for the 15th. So in order to get enough people to make up a full district, Yakima now goes all the way down to Goldendale and Gina Musbrucker's neck of the woods. So now we have a minority majority 15th district, meaning there are more potential voters of what we would consider minority status, Hispanic, than not. And here are the results from the last election. I'm rounding up to the nearest number. And the race for senator, 60-40, Republican win. And the race for representative position 1, Bruce Chandler, Jack McIntyre, 60-40, Republican win. Jeremy Defoe and A.J. Cooper, 60-40, Republican win. So in a district that is minority majority district, the vote totals there are not any different than they are in any of the other districts where political ideology is what drives the vote, not skin color. 60-40. So you have the exact same results in District 14 as you do in District 15. Right. What's the advantage? What's the purpose for trying to accomplish this? It's infuriating to me that, in my opinion, Democrat politics are at play under the guise of skin color and minority status. It was my position during the city council turnover, and it's my position on this again. And they always try to bring up examples of, we'll see how it happened in this race and what happened in that race. 2 words, Jesse Palacios, how long did he serve? A minority served in the county commission, voted and elected based on ideology, based on his policies, based on what he brought to the table, not based on the fact that he was a minority. And that drives me flipping crazy. So I'm going to shut up for a moment and tamp down all my swear words, and you can continue to talk, Joe Brusic.
Well, Jesse Palacios, who served us very well as a county commissioner, and we all remember him. But what they point to is he's been the only individual of Hispanic origin in the last 30 years. Right. And the reality is, and you guys know me well. I mean, how many times have I said this on your show? What we want to do is we want to obtain evidence. We want to make it evidentiary based. We want to make it data based, and then have people that are much more knowledgeable about this than I am, or the Board of County Commissioners, to evaluate and determine what is best for the voters of Yakima County. And I think that's our job. That's our job as elected officials. That's our job as just doing the right thing. And I believe that it's appropriate to engage in this. And that's why we wanted more time. That's why we wanted to get experts on board, and we have done that. But to evaluate the evidence, see what we get, and then we can always, even after a lawsuit is filed, and such as in this case, the law allows for us to actually change. The board can change the way that it's done, but it has to be okayed through the court. And the reality is, this is going to lengthen the process. And what we do know through the statute is it has to be set for trial within 12 months from the filing of the lawsuit. So we know that at least now it'll be set by the court eventually when we have a hearing for trial within the next 12 months. And now we engage in discovery. Now we engage in hopefully continued cooperation and communication, which is at the bedrock, I think, of any successful organization. And we go from the perspective of we're going to continue to soldier on, obtain information, have it politically and analyzed by people that are very intelligent and try to do the right thing one way or the other. Whether we actually do something that they like or not is yet to be seen, of course. But we're in that process.
You know, I think a lot of people, Joe, feel that the county's got two options. You got the one option that you can do what you're doing right now and finally make a change at the end of what you're doing now, or you can go to court, spend a bunch of money, try to fight it, and then make the change then. You know, I mean, it just seems like it's just an inevitable thing that is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's up to the, once the lawsuit's filed, then it's under the purview of the justice system and the court, and the judge that is assigned to this case will hear the evidence from both sides and then make a decision like any other case.
Yeah.
And the judge doesn't have to change anything. We could remain the same through the judge's position, or the judge could change to one of the two main areas, obviously the single voter district as well as the ranked choice voting. And, and that's going to be based upon evidence. That's going to be based upon our investigation and their investigation. And, I don't want to create a political situation where things are inflammatory. I want to create, I want to create, shed light as opposed to create heat. And under the circumstances, that's what we have been trying to do representing Yakima County.
KIT News Time is 7:55. If you're just joining us and you've missed part of this conversation, we're going to be putting this up on our website at newstalkkit.com later today, before noon, hopefully, if not. But we'll have it up there today so you can grab this conversation, and it'll be on Facebook as well. There are other things in the news today. But before we kind of end this conversation, will this case kind of take care of most cases that, or I think there's another, isn't there another group that has also filed a lawsuit over this?
Yeah, that's the MALDEF, and they are going through the Federal Voters' Right Act of 1965, and they're probably going to kind of wait and see how this lawsuit goes. They could have filed at any time under the federal law. Whereas in Washington law, it had to be 180 days. They're waiting to see. They most likely and most assuredly will intervene in this particular lawsuit. They actually have indicated in their letter to us that they don't like ranked choice voting. They want a single-member district, but one that has the majority of Latinos being able to vote. And it's based upon people that are evaluated of voting age that are of Latino descent. And so, now you have two people, and it would be unprecedented for them to both sue Yakima County in the state of Washington. But you have two organizations that even from their perspective see it a different way, which further bodes credence and credibility to our position. Like, let's do the right thing and see and investigate and get out there and then make decisions one way or the other. Whether we agree or disagree, at least then do it based upon knowledge. And that's what I in our office and lawyers do in general. You base it on evidence. You don't base it on political rhetoric and assumptions and anecdotal stories.
Good stuff. And I think we're just going to leave it there. If we switch to another subject, we probably won't have enough time to talk to you about it. But we know that
there is a lot going on. There's no question about that.
Well, I'm stuck, so indulge me for another couple of minutes.
Yeah.
The concept of politics versus minority status. If Yakima County, if we whitewashed the county, sorry to say it, but everybody in Yakima County was Caucasian, and you had a bunch of Democrats that weren't winning elections based on their ideology, right? That their ideas didn't fit the ideas of the majority in the region for, all the things that we have Republican states and Democrat states, Republican areas, Democrat areas. It's the philosophy of the people and the ideas presented and what appeals to them. And conservative Eastern Washington is a Republican area. That's proven. We have what? We don't even have a single. We used to have our auditor used to be the lone Democrat of elected representatives, and now with Charles Ross, you've got a Republican. So the idea of Democrat ideas serving the people of this region doesn't seem to fit the majority of people who vote, right? And so if everybody looked in the mirror and saw me, God help them, if it was, there would be no federal relief. There would be no effort to change our voting system. It's just like, sorry, Charlie, get better ideas that fit your area and you can get elected, right? There'd be no excuse. Your ideas would have to stand and fall on their own merits. Now you interject minority status. And what a coincidence, virtually all minorities share the same political ideology. That's the heart of the Democrat Party here. So all of a sudden, the Democrat Party has the cover of skin color to move ahead. And for everybody said that you're not voting because they're brown, you don't like them. That's crap. You know, Jesse Palacios can be pointed to as the only guy in 30 years. He's a Republican, right? How did he get elected down there? Well, Republicans voted him in because they like what he stood for and how he positioned himself. Everybody else that has run, that's not the case. No. So to me, that's the biggest thorn in my side, is that it provides cover for Democrat ideology that couldn't make it on its own at the ballot box.
Well, you
don't have to.
Well, that's fairly inflammatory. I'm not gonna go down that road.
Come on, Joe.
That's Angelo's snowball to hell. But I will say the most important thing to me in the Board of County Commissioners, and this goes without saying, is that every potential candidate, regardless of race, ethnicity, or background, feels that if they want to represent Yakima County in a particular district, that they file and that they become elected. The other issue is that everybody who wants to vote is allowed to vote, and their vote counts. And those are the two most important principles that we want to make sure is clear.
I'd share one last thing, and then I see the timelines. An article from 2018 talking about more Latinos vote in Yakima County, fewer running for office. 2010, 33% of those eligible to vote in the Hispanic community did. In 2018, 42% voted. So that's an improvement. That's still 20 points behind the 62% of Anglo voters. So you're eligible to vote. Why aren't you voting? That's my other stick in the... But I'm not going to inflame you, Joe Brusic. I'm going to say thank you for your time, sir, and for your position. I appreciate the fact-based approach to this and getting expert analysis on what systems truly would best serve the people of Central Washington. And that's what should be the sole factor in this. What would truly work and make it right. And whether... And my research shows that in a lot of cases, the ranked choice winds up picking the person that has the most votes anyway. It's fairly rare that they wind up using the convoluted mathematics to get to the ones with the most first and the most second place and all of that. It allows for it, but in more often than not, it still reveals that the most popular person wins. So there you go.